Hello there, this is James S. Crofty, known as 1978, and following on from the last video in which you actually heard me speak, in recent days there has been a terrifyingly rapid influx of even more examples of the in-group which has power, privilege, and entitlement, aka the political right and centre, redefining reality in order to protect and maintain that power, privilege, and entitlement by casting themselves as being under threat from and the target of the oppressive, violent, and hyperbolic left. First of all, here in Britain, the Tory MP Mark Field grabbing a protester by the throat with a look on his face that every survivor of abuse recognises as the face of a violent abuser who is punishing you for daring to defy him, only to tone it down when he realised that he was being filmed, to which of course Tory scum and their apologists began chanting, "What if she'd had a knife? Remember the assassination of Joe Cox?" Then, less than 24 hours later, the man tipped to be our next Prime Minister Boris Johnson was overheard having a violent row with his partner, during which she screamed, "Get off me, get out of my flat," with the apologists now declaring that neighbours calling the police to protect a potential victim of domestic violence and holding people in authority to account by recording them and informing the media when they do something bad is A, an evil leftist Remainer plot to undermine the British Trump, and B, the tactics of the Stasi, because a private citizen recording a member of the government and the government spying on private citizens are now apparently exactly the same thing. And in the US as well, on top of right-wingers and centrists proving once again that they are far more outraged by accusations of bigotry, abuse and what have you than they are by the atrocities themselves, by screaming, "They're not concentration camps because they don't have gas chambers," a Trump official has actually argued in court, in front of judges, that migrant children being held in concentration camps, is internment camps better? Don't need to be provided with soap and toothpaste in order for the government to meet its legal obligation to provide a safe and sanitary environment. I think we've just found a replacement for Sarah Huckabee Sanders. But while we can all rip those arguments apart, and many of us have, by pointing out that if Mark Field had been afraid for his life, then he would have gone for the protester's wrists, not her throat, that 3 separate neighbours called the police on Boris Johnson, and one of them informed the Daily Mail, which, to put that in context for my American viewers, is like if Trump was overheard having a violent row with a woman in which she screamed, "Get off me." Someone who called the police had also called Rachel Maddow, and so Republicans had dismissed the incident as a Democratic smear, but then it turned out that another neighbour who'd also called the police had also contacted Fox News, that while Nazi concentration camps ultimately evolved into death camps, other concentration camps, including those used by the US to intern Japanese American citizens, did not, and as for soap being necessary for a sanitary environment, duh. The bottom line is that all of these arguments are utterly and entirely irrelevant because far from having anything to do with truth or reality, it's all about self-righteous emotional comfort, satisfaction and power. This is Big Joel explains in his most recent video, links there in the underbar, the fact that most #skeptical YouTubers who now make their living by mocking, ridiculing and condemning leftist LGBT feminazi SJWs don't actually believe what they're saying is utterly irrelevant, since their audience literally do not care. Because even if the audience themselves also know deep down that the arguments are bullshit, no one who watches Stephen Crowder or Stefan Molyneux, for example, actually demands that they cite their sources or even make any kind of logical sense. Instead, they merely want to reinforce their happy little bubble in which they are the morally and intellectually superior good guys, and all of the world's problems are either the result of defying the natural order, the person's own fault, or the exaggerations of disgruntled malcontents, aka the left, who are stirring up trouble and thus simply need to either shut up or be shut up.
All right, well, enough about politics. So, how are things here on the station?
Fine. Status quo. We have had some problems with the lurkers, but nothing...
Lurkers?
It's our version of the homeless. In many ways, we have the same problem Earth does.
Earth doesn't have homeless.
Excuse me?
we don't have the problem. Yes, there are some displaced people, here and there. But they've chosen to be in that position. They're either lazy, or they're criminal, or they're mentally unstable.
They can't get a job.
EarthGov has promised a job to anyone that wants one. So, if someone doesn't have a job, they must not want one.
Poverty?
It's the same.
Crime?
Yes, there is some, but it's all caused by the mentally unstable. And we've just instituted correctional centers to filter them out at an early age.
Prejudice?
No, we're just one happy planet. Well, all right, there's the Marsies, but that won't change until they stop fighting the Earth rule.
And when exactly did all this happen?
When we rewrote the dictionary.